star, that star looks like your mom.
I don't see it. Oh, that star.
Well, you see,
Oh!
it's got the whole, yeah,
It actually kind of does look like my mom.
yeah, very good looking.
You see those 3 stars over there?
Yeah,
That's Orion's teeth. And then above them, that's Orion's nose.
whoa, very cool. Why does he have such a big honkin' schnoz?
Oh, my bad. That's a plane.
Oh. What do you think those stars look like? Oh, that's right, you can't talk. Hey, welcome back to Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. We're still here. Oh, camping away. You knew that, though, already. You've been with us all day. We're just here stargazing.
And dipping our feet in the coals.
Yeah. It's actually getting really hot.
I thought it would be like a bathtub.
Yeah, it was not like a bathtub. Turns out. Well, that'll just have to stay there. You know what this reminds me of?
What?
The classic fan fiction by Writing Spirit called Panatrophia.
Oh.
Of course, you would know all about Panatrophia by Writing Spirit.
Yeah. But why don't you go ahead and remind me for the viewers?
Well, for anyone who doesn't know, Panatrophia by Writing Spirit is a classic in the Brony fandom. It was written in April of 2020, the 21st of April of 2020.
Oh, yeah, real classic.
Yeah, for the Barcast Halloween in April horror contest. And obviously, we all know this, of course, it was pre-read by No Raisin.
Of course.
Duh. You know something fascinating about this story is that it's tagged gore, death, dark, horror, tragedy, twilight, discord, main six, and starlight glimmer.
Oh,
so I think
boy.
that really makes something right there. And MLPFIM, obviously. Yeah. In fact, you know what we should do? We should actually read
Why not?
that story. I think it would be nice and fun for the holiday, you know?
Yeah. It's just a little spooky story around the campfire. It's not actually going to be scary or anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, you all should go read this story for yourself, actually. In case you haven't already, of course. But if not, that's okay. You should all go give it a like anyways. Nevertheless, even if you hate that story, if you are like, yeah, I remember that story is garbage, you should go give it a like anyways, because don't be a jerk, it's Christmas.
Or something like that.
Or something like that. So anyways, let's go ahead and read this classic tale. This is Panatrophia by Writing Spirit. Chapter Panatrophia. It's doing one of those classic fanfiction things where you just title the chapter the same thing as the story. Now there are 2 dots before any talking. I don't know what the fuck that means. But then there's a sentence. She was fine. Perfectly fine.
Applejack, are you sure?
An ugly silence smothered the dining room of Sweet Apple Acres. Course I'm sure. Applejack glowered at her through drying tears.
Oh.
She was fine when she came over. She was fine when she was sorting out apples with Apple Bloom. She was fine when she was helping Sugar Belle with lunch. If that ain't fine, I don't know what is.
I did not read the scene correctly at first. This is a lot more dramatic of a start.
Yeah. Was not expecting that.
But that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, of course I was expecting that. This is a classic that everyone's read. Do you want it to make sense, or do you want the truth?
Applejack, darling, please.
Because the truth, Twilight, is that one moment she was fine, the next she wasn't. One moment Fluttershy was serving us lunch, the next she fell right here. Applejack stomped a shaking hoof onto the floor, and she was crying her eyes out, screaming at us to help her and trying her darndest to breathe, and then she stopped. She just stopped. She stopped crying, she stopped screaming, she stopped breathing. And if all that doesn't make sense to you, Twilight, that's because it ain't ever going to make any gosh darn sense in the first place.
Applejack, stop it! No, she's right, Rarity.
Twilight let out a shriveling gasp, her forehead wilting into the bosom of her shivering hooves.
I'm sorry, Applejack. I just wanted to... just...
A feverish sigh before she turned towards Rarity.
How was she? What did Nurse Redheart say? Still not breathing. They're trying their best to keep her alive. She
swallowed and tried again.
I almost went to try and narrate.
Back off, pal.
I'm trying to keep all the voices straight in my head.
First you hit me with a fish, and now you're trying to do this. Listen to the last episode to get that. She swallowed and tried again.
To keep her safe. Nurse Redheart said they've never seen anything like this before. They're not sure if she will... if they can. But they will try. Did the others know about it yet?
I talked to Pinky about it, Applejack spoke up. Asked her to join us, but she wants some time alone. Rainbow's still at Cloudsdale. Was gonna write her a letter later. Don't know what to say, but I'll try.
Twilight, do you have any idea what this is?
Rarity asked, trembling.
Anything at all?
Twilight racked her brain again. Sure, it didn't work the past 200 times, but it might work now. Who knows? The eureka moment might just come springing out like a blossoming orchid from the cracks of the floorboards beneath her hooves. And when it does, they could then all go home, sleep soundly, and by tomorrow, they'll come back here, plan things out, do whatever it is they have to do, and everything will go back to normal. That's how it's always been. That's how it should be.
I'm sorry.
Rarity tried to smile.
You don't have to be. But I have to figure it out. I have to. Otherwise, Fluttershy... We have to, Twilight. Not just you. Us.
Rarity gave Twilight's hoof a light squeeze.
Fluttershy is every bit a friend to us as she is to you. If you need our help, dear, whatever it is, you can be sure that Applejack and I will be there. Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash, too, once they join us.
I'm sorry for yelling at you, Twilight. Applejack spoke up. I knew you were trying to figure things out, and...
I'm sorry, too.
Twilight stepped forward to hug her, with Rarity promptly joining them.
We'll fix it, girls. I know we will. We'll fix this, and we'll bring her back. We'll bring Fluttershy back. Whatever it takes.
Applejack! The new voice was faint, feverish. All three mares turned around to find Apple Bloom standing in the darkness of the doorway. Wrapped around her rear hooves like a cocoon was her blanket, which she had dragged from her bedroom to the dining room. Her eyes were swelling red and shimmering with tears, darting between Rarity and Twilight before finally falling upon her sister. Nightmare, huh, Apple Bloom? Applejack let out a weak chuckle, standing up and trotting towards her. Can't blame ya. Don't think I can sleep much tonight either. How about you sleep with me tonight? Come on, Sugar Cube. Let me get you tucked in. No, don't. The filly's outburst stopped everyone in their tracks, hooves trembling. Apple Bloom stumbled backwards into the darkness, away from Applejack, away from every pony else. Her jaw slackened, fresh tears spilling forth from her eyes and dripping onto the floor as she frantically shook her head.
What does she know about Applejack?
Apple Bloom? There was a crack in Applejack's voice. Sugar Cube, what's wrong? I'm sorry, Applejack. Apple Bloom whimpered. Her panting grew louder. For everything, she whined. For all the things I... Faster. I'm sorry. With a strangled cry, Apple Bloom collapsed.
Dude.
And add another CMC go through hell.
Why? People really like using the babies to try and get at the feelings. They really don't have to, though.
Yeah. In fact, if anything, I feel less for when these babies go through trauma than, like, in any other piece of fiction.
It's like they deserve
It's weird.
more.
I love these characters. But I'm just like, these characters are practically adults or something. I don't know. I don't... Anyways. God damn it.
I wonder if Apple Bloom like poisoned the water supply. It's gonna be like something mysterious is killing everyone and they didn't even realize.
Whoopsie.
They were the first of many.
For the past several minutes, Twilight had been staring into a swirling whirlpool at the bottom of the sink. Of a sink.
There could be more. There will be.
She wasn't sure what she had been looking at. She just stared into the black. Listened to for the gurgling in the pipes, though they could just be the ones in her stomach. Slowly, she reached towards the little dark, the tip of her hoof tracing the silver edge. Once, twice, thrice for good measure.
This is going to be difficult. For many of us, these are going to be the hardest times of our lives.
She winced, closing her eyes and gritting her teeth as her head began to throb again. She had migraines before, many times in fact, yet nothing quite like this. It was as if a scorpion had clambered into her head through her ears, curled itself into a ball, and slept in the darkest corners of her skull. Its stinger slightly scraping the wrinkles of her brain every time she threatened to conjure up a thought. That is an image.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just sit on that for a second here.
I would rather, continue. I don't want to be thinking about a scorpion in my head too much.
Alright, well, I'll bring it up again later on. Once more, Twilight twisted the faucet open, the water hissing and splashing against the porcelain. With a sprinkle of magic, she rinsed her face, her hefty sighs melting into the running water and joining the last of the tears dripping down her chin.
But we have to have courage. We have to stay strong, stay vigilant. Every creature afflicted now, our friends, our family, we have to do this for them. They're waiting for us. All of us.
When she was done, Twilight gave one last glance into the mirror above the sink.
We're going to fix this. We'll figure this out, and we'll fix it, and we'll bring everyone back. I promise.
Can't cure death, Twilight.
Well, maybe if you're Starlight Glimmer.
Yeah, did I say you can't cure death, Starlight?
They're the same character.
That was the best possible comeback you could have had for that. Her reflection glared back, bleary eyes burning black.
I promise.
You look terrible, darling.
Twilight laughed as she emerged from the bathroom, sinking into Rarity's hug.
Glad I'm not the only one who thinks that.
She said.
Where's Rainbow Dash?
She went ahead to see Fluttershy.
Her friend answered.
They're waiting for us.
Throughout their journey, Twilight made sure to keep her head down. Ponies of all shapes and sizes crowded the hospital corridors. Yet, apart from some plaintive sobs and restrained sniffles, only the eerie shroud of silence hung over them. Most were too absorbed in their clustered dread and grief to notice the princess walking by. Those that did, however, said not a word. They just stared at her with empty eyes that followed her down the hallway, and should Twilight be so unfortunate as to stare back, she would find herself once more on the cusp of crumbling into an inconsolable mess. They don't want her to fake a smile. No exhausted apologies. No redundant words of reassurance. No promises she couldn't keep. Certainly not another reminder of the safety measures put in place. They wanted a miracle. Well, thankfully, Twilight is basically a Jesus allegory, so... She knew that because she wanted one too. She just didn't have the heart to tell them it won't be coming from her.
Applejack isn't coming.
The news from her friend had Twilight biting her lip.
I wouldn't blame her.
She said after careful consideration.
Pinkie Pie?
Rarity dolefully shook her head.
She wouldn't come out of her room, no matter what.
This was also made, by the way, in April of 2020. Seems like...
Oh, no.
Yeah. Just realized that. Not sure if that was any sort of intentional, but...
Don't know if they maybe predicted certain events.
I mean, who could say?
It's fine. As long as she's safe, it's fine.
Twilight didn't know how convincing she sounded when she said that.
How about you, Rarity? Are you doing okay? Do you need me to get you anything?
I'm fine, Twilight. I'll have you know Sweetie Belle is too.
Hallelujah. Let's go, Belle.
Yeah!
The one who gets the shit kicked out of her probably the most.
But Scootaloo, I made sure she wasn't okay.
That is so Rarity. Rarity is smiling despite her haughty tone.
She is kind of a hottie.
Oh, yeah. So are you.
Oh. We're all hotties.
And your mom.
Literally, because, like, the star thing, get it?
Yeah.
Very great callback.
Callback, yep. That was intentional. It was intentional. I don't know why I said it like that.
If anything, I'm worried that you're not getting enough rest. Twilight, you tend to take things a bit too far for your own good. I don't know what accent I'm doing, but it's kind of like British, kind of like not.
That's what Rarity is. Kind of like British.
She's like she wants to be British just so she can sound fancier.
She really does. That is exactly what Twilight is. Not Twilight, what Rarity does.
What time did you sleep last night?
Early?
Rarity sighed.
You can't keep doing this to yourself, Twilight.
Watch me!
Just books it out of the room. How many times have I told you already? A lady needs her beauty sleep. And before you start nagging at me about it again, Twilight, you are a lady, no matter what you think. That sounds a bit transphobic.
Wow.
Just, out of context, that does sound so bad.
Unless Twilight is a trans woman.
Like I'm just followed by Twilight going, I didn't even say anything. It's like Rarity randomly bringing up this so she can complain about trans people or something.
Dick move, Rares.
Okay.
Out of the main six, though, Rarity would be the most likely to be transphobic.
Oh god, you're right. She's like, I've been reading about J.K. Rowling. I like her accent.
Ugh.
I didn't even say anything.
Twilight said, pouting like a scolded child. Rarity giggled.
Not only that, you're the ruler of all Equestria.
She continued.
If there's any pony that Equestria needs right now, it's you.
But I've done everything I could. I've organized research teams, I've scoured the archives, I've even asked Spike to issue curfews and dispatch the Royal Guard to every town and city all over Equestria. It's not like there's anything else I can do.
You can be brave.
Aww. This won't end well, will it?
Aw, I hope it does.
Me too, but I don't think it will. Call me crazy.
I have to try and remember what was going on in 2020 in April to wonder how inspired by the pandemic this could be. Just because just like what she's talking about just reminds me of that as well.
I mean, COVID existed.
Yeah, I just don't know if there
Obviously.
was like, did we have like the shutdowns and the everything?
This might have been like immediately before the shutdowns, at least in America.
I think June was like the peak, so I don't know.
We had it already for a while in June. Let me think here. Because, oh yeah, we released our first episode in June, and that had the timely reference to it.
Oh, really?
Yep. I was like, yeah, we recorded this all the way back in whenever we recorded it. And we're releasing it in June. And, yeah, COVID was still a thing then. Remember that? Yeah, we first recorded on May 1st, so it was at least since May 1st.
Oh, man.
That shutdowns were a thing.
Yeah, so this could be quite inspired by that, but I don't know.
Did not predict that very well, I'll be honest. Did not age well.
What was
What
the
I
reference?
said there? I think I was just like, this'll blow over soon, I'm sure. I'm an optimist. Her smile, though heartening, was subdued.
Between you and me, Twilight, I think Equestria could use one of those right now. A brave face.
So get the fuck out of that leadership position. I
She's
think we
taken
need
over.
someone else. Hear me out. Rainbow Dash. There's a brave face for ya.
It's true. Look at that big old scarred. I don't know. Does she have a scar on her face?
No, but I wish she did. She
Okay.
does in, the future episode. Not the future episode, but the alternate universe episode where they go into the future.
Oh.
Not the future. Why do I keep saying that? They go into the past and then the future present, which is the alternate present. She does there.
So even after like losing her one wing, does she have any like scars after that?
Yeah. Yeah, she has a big old one on her face.
What?
Rainbow Dash.
I'm confused because you just said she didn't have a scar on her face except for in the alternate universe episode
That is the alternate universe.
where she loses a wing.
Yeah.
I thought she lost a wing in like the main series.
No.
What?
I mean, technically it was the main series, but
but I mean like her main character
main-
ended up having a metal replacement wing throughout the series after losing it to King Sombra or something.
no, that would be so cool, though.
That wasn't. I thought that was canon.
That explains some conversations that we've had.
That is so disappointing.
Because I definitely said that that she didn't have, that she lost her wing in an alternate timeline. You must have misheard me, I suppose. I'm just bad at my job, I guess. Because if you thought that, what the fuck else have you thought about this goddamn show that I've accidentally told you?
Yeah, I thought there was like a big fight where she lost a wing, and then afterward it was like, oh yeah, she's so cool. But no.
God,
Isn't
I
it cool
wish.
in alternate universe. No, that's not true.
How fucking dare you?
But back to the story.
Twilight sighed exasperatedly.
Rarity, I don't know if I could even...
You can.
Calm.
I don't know what the accent is.
Rarity rested a hoof on her shoulder when she said that, looking at her with an intensity Twilight had only ever seen from when she was working on her most important orders.
Twilight, I've known you for years. Being brave is just the tip of the inexhaustible list that is your virtues. All the same, do you know what else you are?
Dumbly, Twilight shook her head. Duh.
You're inspiring.
And I mean, I think we would have read a fan fiction that at least mentions that Rainbow Dash loses her wing.
I don't think so.
Like, well, no. Like, if that did happen, that would have been a big fucking moment in the show.
Did I not, like, bring up her metal wing when they were talking about Scootaloo in, that one fic?
I believe you did, but I just thought that you were talking about the alternate universe. Rarity's smile flourished alongside her warm words.
You've been that way from the very start. Whenever you do something, it compels the rest of us to do the same. Now, I know I'm asking a lot from you, especially since you've already done everything you could. But I have to be selfish, for once in my life. Once in Rarity's life, she's gonna be selfish. Oh no.
Wow. Rarity's been selfish a lot, in case you're wondering.
Rarity would never.
They're more like the elements of hypocrisy, if you think about it. The words that followed came with a forlorn sigh.
Be brave, Twilight. For us.
To that, Twilight glanced down at the space between her hooves and closed her eyes. Of course. She exhaled through clenched teeth. Of course it had to be her. There was a time where she would heed those words. There was a time where she would put on her best smile, maybe tear up a little, and promise her friend that she would do her very best. This time, however, Twilight wanted to shake her head. She wanted to be forthcoming and tell Rarity that she couldn't bring herself to do that she was expecting too much from her. She wanted to tell her friend that she's just as afraid as every pony else, because of course she was afraid. Everyone else is, so why can't she do the same? Why does she have to be the one to put on the brave face while the rest of the cowering world look to her for courage? Why can't she be afraid? That's a good question, Twi. Yet, when she finally had the half-strung fortitude to look at Rarity and give her response, she chose instead to lie.
I will.
Thank you.
Rarity's tender smile was such a painful sight.
And remember, if you need anything yourself, you need only ask. And if you do ask me, Twilight, I'd say I can make an especially menacing mochaccino.
Twilight laughed.
I appreciate it, Rarity. But you know, I can't possibly.
I'm Mormon, please.
I'll leave out the chino.
She stopped when a stampede of doctors and nurses scrambled past them and raced down the hallway. Shouts and shrieks erupted soon after, prompting Twilight and Rarity to break into a frantic gallop, and when they turned the corner, their hearts immediately dropped once they saw where it was coming from. Oh no. Oh no. Fluttershy. Twilight could hear it even before entering her room. Oh man, what do you think is happening? Do you think she exploded?
I hope not. I hope it's just like she's awake and now everyone's happy. Yeah.
I hope that it's like the movie Spontaneous, which is also a book, but...
People just explode out of nowhere.
Yep.
Man.
Have you seen Spontaneous?
No.
It's depressing, but it's also really funny. It's a wild ride. People explode. If you can't tell by the name of it, it's spontaneous combustion.
Yeah.
Twilight could hear it even before entering her room. The yawn of crumbling bones. Crumpling. Fluttershy was caving inward. Her skin was sinking, her flesh receding. That's even worse. Oh my god. The whites of her patellas seeped through growing patches of mauve. Her ribcage unfurled soon after, bulging against her chest as it curled outwards like a parting curtains. Holy shit. So you remember the scorpion?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, kind of happier times, ain't it?
Yeah, but...
Hair drizzled from her scalp.
Done this.
Yep. Hair drizzled from her scalp and tailbone, the strings of pink piling around her bed. Similarly, feathers trickled from her wings, only to be interrupted with a loud snap where her left wing broke apart from its scapula and fell onto the floor in a splatter of red. Holy fuck.
I'm feeling nauseous.
Her jawbone emerged from her flaking chin, her lips peeling back to reveal a... Oh no, poor Apple Bloom. Like, Fluttershy can take this. She's fine.
Oh, God.
But, oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, Fluttershy was in Autumn Without End.
Yeah. Fluttershy knows how to handle pain.
But, of course, this is going to have to happen to Apple Bloom. Because she's a baby.
Oh, no. Her jawbone emerged from her flaking chin, her lips peeling back to reveal a rictus crumbling as teeth by teeth began to fall off and tumble into her bubbling throat. Crimson hisses filled the room when her cartilages finally punctured her crumbling chest, jutting out briefly before stumbling back down like fallen trees in a bog. By then, rivers of blood and pus had drooled into the bedsheets, wrung out from the crackling bonfire. Bonfire, fire, campfire, shit, this is ruining the story, basically, me doing this. By then, rivers of blood and pus had drooled into the bedsheets, wrung out from the crackling bonfire of flesh and bone as if it was from a wet rag. What terrified Twilight the most, however, was when one of her eyelids dissolved away. Fluttershy was staring at her. All this time, she had been staring at her.
Oh, God.
All this time, she had been awake. Great. Now I have to figure out what to do with Rainbow. Thanks, Wizzy. Classic story.
Just do like a funny clown voice.
A Twilight? Do something? Hong Kong? I'm not doing that. Twilight, Do something! Rainbow's voice tore into her head, the Pegasus frantically shaking her by her shoulders. Do something! Anything! All eyes in the room turned to her.
We are going to fix this.
Yet all Twilight could do was look on.
We'll figure this out, and we'll fix it, and we'll bring everyone back.
All she could do was watch as Fluttershy decomposed before her very eyes.
I promise.
A muffled wheeze was all Twilight could give before she buckled over and vomited.
Sorry, that was my muffled wheeze.
Lovely wheeze. Loved it. Absolutely amazing. Fluttershy. Twilight had made a list. Apple Bloom. The names of all the victims so far, in order. Oh no. No. Cheerilee, Pipsqueak, Featherweight, Tree Hugger, Blossomforth. Why Pipsqueak and Featherweight?
Who are those two?
They're two baby ponies.
Man!
I mean,
It's
baby
like
as
the
in like
tiniest names.
they're friends of Apple Bloom, another victim.
Oh, so there's a connection. There's a line that you can draw.
Cheerilee is the school teacher. I think you know that.
Yep. Tree hugger probably hugged a tree that had the disease.
She's also total hippie and Fluttershy's friend. Blossomforth, on the other hand, that's just a background pony, I'm pretty sure.
Mother of Pipsqueak, I don't know.
I don't remember Blossomforth. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, background pony. Kind of like a Twilight reskin, but a Pegasus. She wasn't sure when she started writing it. Bonbon, Vinyl Scratch, Rumble,
No.
Cloud Chaser, Thunderlane, Zephyr Breeze, Silver Spoon, yay, Twist, Diamond Tiara, Snips, Snails, Autumn Blaze. So it's definitely got a pattern here. If it got Silver Spoon, Twist, Diamond Tiara, Snips, and Snails.
Oh, yeah.
Who the fuck is Autumn Blaze? Okay, this is why I didn't remember her. She's a Kieran. She's never even set foot in Ponyville. What the shit?
Maybe someone has like a death note and they're just writing down the names of people.
Brony had it. Oh, god damn it, there's more. She wasn't sure when she'd finish it either. Flitter, Lyra Heartstrings, Tender Taps, Sandbar. No,
Why did it
Mud
separate
Pie.
Bonbon and Lyra so much? Is this just like some lesbophobia?
Lyra just hung on.
Oh, you're probably right.
She
That's
is the
sad.
better of the two after all. Yeah, I
That means
said
that
it.
Bonbon had it initially when she got it while cheating with vinyl.
Oh shit, dude.
Bum bum bum.
It also has Octavia well away from Vinyl, but
Oh, never mind.
we haven't
Then
gotten
I
to her
can't
yet,
say that.
actually. Flitter, Lyra Heartstrings, Tender Taps, Sandbar, Mod Pie, Mudbriar, Filthy Rich, Mare, Octavia, Lotus Blossom, Alo, Silverstream, Fleetfoot, Scootaloo, Wind Sprint, no idea who that is either. And also, no, Sandbar, Silverstream? God damn it. Why did it have to be Silverstream?
They get rid of the CMC in every single horror fic, apparently. Like freaking Scootaloo and Apple Bloom, God.
It's a
Scootaloo and Apple Bloom, and now they're definitely going to be going after Rarity's little sister.
Sweetie Belle. It's a wonder how Apple Bloom survived that last fic with her. Spoilers for that last fic with her. It still mortified her every time she came back to study it. How many young, so many of them. Oh. How young so many of them were. Soren, Spitfire, Smolder, Terramar, Zecora, Cranky, Matilda, Roseluck, Berry Punch, Minuet, Amethyst Star, Twinkle Shine, Daring Do, Quibble Pants, Clear Sky, Harshwinny, Mr. Shy, Mrs. Shy. Aw, they had to live through that happening to their daughter. It's rough.
Wait, who?
Mr. and
Who's
Mrs.
Mr.
Shy.
Were they?
Fluttershy's parents.
Oh. I thought Fluttershy was a one word.
It is. Anyways. Vapor Trail, Mr. Cake, Mrs. Cake, Big Mac. Good news, Mr. and Mrs. Cake died before their kids.
You mean, Pinkie Pie?
No.
Who's her kids, actually? I thought they had
Carrot Cake and Pound
lived
Cake.
alone. Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
We had them in season 2. Big Mac. He had collapsed while shifting hay in the barn. Sugar Bell. She collapsed while trying to carry her husband back into the farmhouse. Pinkie Pie. Twilight closed her eyes and stifled a sob when she recalled the state that they found her in. Spread out on her bed, starved to the point where the shape of her ribs were protruding from her chest. Her hooves blistered from clawing at her neck. The frozen look of terror as she desperately gasped for air. You could have at least told me now's a bad time, your majesty. Quickly, Twilight wiped away her tears, craning her neck upwards to find none other than Discord leering down at her. There was nothing left in his jaundiced eyes. No crooning sickles nor cranberry stars. None of his silver mischief and golden wit that would light the world up like firecrackers. All that was left was the darkness of the night. Coalescing in the whites of his irises like roosting ravens, ruthlessly pecking away at what flicker of hope that dared to remain. Well, what did you want from me? Trapped in the mire of his fluorescent shadow as he slithered overhead, Twilight persisted.
Answers,
She said.
or something to that effect.
So you come to me? His frank cackles pirouetted between her ears. You do realize that if I had the answers, I could snap all of this away. I could bring her back. I could bring everyone back.
No.
Twilight shook her head.
No, of course. I just hoped maybe you might.
Her voice withered into a sigh.
Of course. I'm sorry I asked.
Don't be, he replied with surprising warmth. I'm sorry I couldn't answer. Discord sank down to join her, his serpentine form stretching out to take up a row of the hospital's waiting chairs. I wish I could, though. I sincerely do. It would certainly be nice to rub it in your face for one. The two shared a laugh. That's really the problem here, isn't it? I'm the Lord of Chaos. Pandemics and the turmoil that comes with it, I've seen more than my fair share. Even started a few myself. All you have to do is blink and I can make them disappear. But this here is different. This is something beyond even my control.
But there's a way to stop this, right? There has to be.
I suppose. The Draconicus managed to grin. Then again, does it really matter what I think? The smile she returned was equally sullen.
Shouldn't it? You've said it yourself. You're the Lord of Chaos, after all.
And you're the ruler of Equestria. Yet, here we are. Discord snapped his talons. Nothing. I tried to change things, Twilight. The moment I heard what happened, I tried. I really did. Another snap. Nothing. Another snap. Nothing. Then I thought, Maybe I wasn't trying hard enough. Maybe if I put a little more effort, change could happen. So I tried harder. Snap, nothing. And harder. Snap, nothing. Snap, nothing. And harder and harder and harder. Snap, 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 nothing. Have you ever been Discord?
Have I ever what?
Been Discord?
Don't know.
I don't think I ever
Don't
remember
think
you
so.
being Discord. Huh. I'm tired, Twilight, of trying. And now with Fluttershy gone, I have a good reason to stop. One last snap before Discord slumped back into the waiting chair. His gaze fell through the window, looking into the morgue, with Twilight reluctantly doing the same. Applejack had just crumbled onto her knees. Yep, howling in anguish before the blanketed remains of her sister. In the room with her were Rarity and Rainbow Dash, both of whom immediately knelt down to hug their friend despite crying themselves. Twilight couldn't bring herself to join them. Aren't you tired too? She could feel Discord's stare grazing her cheeks. Of trying? An overwrought sigh.
Discord, we're all tired.
Celestia had taught you well. He slipped out a tenebrous chuckle. How many has it been so far? Dozens? Hundreds? 1,000, maybe?
I've lost count.
Twilight lied. She just decided one day to stop counting.
Even so, there's still the rest of us to save. You know I can't stop trying just because I want to.
She glanced back at her mourning friends on the other side of the window.
If I stop now, what's gonna happen to everyone else?
She asked.
Who else is going to stop this?
It's not like you haven't tried.
That doesn't mean I should just give up.
And if nothing changes?
You don't know that, Discord. None of us know that.
But does it have to be you?
It's always been me.
I see, Twilight, that's where you're going at this the wrong way. It has to be you, but it has to also be everyone else.
Exactly. She can't do it alone. And now that everyone else is dying, they've lost.
Oh, yeah, so I guess
she
it does
should
have
give
to be you. Give up, Twilight. Oh, man. Mean. No, this is a great time to do the Everash project, actually. Just take the ones who
Oh,
haven't been
no.
affected, and do whatever the Everash project happened. The declaration was loud enough to make the Draconequus wince.
It should be me.
Twilight continued shaking.
It has to be me. No other creature should have to do this. I have to be the one who stops this. To save everyone.
Oh, maybe that's why Discord can't do anything. Because she's so convinced herself that she has to be the one to do it that it's magically stopped Discord from being able to do anything.
It's like, nah, Discord, I got this. I can handle this.
Twilight just fucking ruins the world on accident. To that, Discord only... fuck. To that, Discord had only a mere snort. You should know, Twilight. I'm not asking you to give up. It's below me to make you do something that you can't bring yourself to do. Chaos can twist and warp every fiber of your being. But it can never bring about something that was never there in the first place. I don't know about that, but alright. That being said, I can see it. I know what you're planning.
And?
Sparks flickered around.
Oh, maybe she is
Twilight's
planning the Everash project.
Maybe. Sparks flickered around Twilight's horn.
What are you gonna do about it?
Something, ideally. Anything to make sure it never comes to pass. I'm sure Fluttershy would have wanted me to, were she here right now. And yet, all Discord did was let out a mangled laugh that was thunderous. Taunting, almost. But that's the problem, isn't it? Fluttershy's not here. Not anymore. With a paltry shake of his head, the Draconiquist stood up and made his leave, this time for good. Do what you wish, Twilight Sparkle. And once you're done, his parting words would haunt her in the days to come. I pray you can find the peace you so desire.
You don't pray, you demon!
Well, damn. In the darkness of the library of the School of Friendship, Starlight Glimmer held a crumpled parchment up into the candlelight. At the very top was a single word scrawled in black ink. Panatrophia. She read it out loud, before casting a tentative glance up at Twilight Sparkle, who was seated across her with her head buried in her foreheads. You named it.
I don't know what else I could do for
Yep,
that,
no,
but
yeah.
it sounded so
Loved it.
funny.
Starlight continued reading, quietly to herself this time, her frown growing more pronounced the further she went. Without further ado, Twilight stood up and strode towards the window, staring into the murky silhouettes of her crumbling kingdom as it slept. She closed her eyes to hearken the silence, to behold its coagulation and inhale the stench in the unfurling absence of all the world's lights and sounds. It was something she should have been familiar with by now, though she knew these things take time. After all, when you've spent every hour in the sun listening to Equestria in freefall, when you've been accustomed to the garish shrieks of mothers and the glaring wails of fathers every day, it would be hard for anyone, even the Princess of Equestria, to adjust to the dark. So it was never a disease in the first place. Starlight's voice gently pierced through the emptiness, the mare trotting up to her side after finishing with the report. Twilight shook her head. A simmering sigh left her lips. A shambling smile festered in its wake. It had been terribly easy to believe it, that all of this was something Fluttershy had unknowingly contracted from one of her animal friends, that what they had been fighting was not a disease. Frankly, it was a conclusion that she should have arrived at sooner. After all, she was there when Applebloom caught it. By all counts, she shouldn't be fighting this right now. She should have been done. She should have been in the morgue with the others, resting. What do you think this is?
I don't know.
Twilight pressed her forehead against the glass.
In fact, I'm not sure if it's in our place to know.
From the corner of her eye, she could see Starlight furrowing her brows. Twilight, is everything okay?
I'm fine. It's just... Sorry, I guess I've been thinking about it a little harder than I used to. About how to stop this. All of this. Once and for all.
The swelling vigor in her eyes danced to the candlelight.
You know, sometimes I wonder what they would do if they were still here.
Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie?
Celestia and Luna.
You think Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie would have done shit? Also, universe getting back at Andrea Libman, I guess.
This is what she gets for what she did to the CMC.
The one CMC.
Oh, no, that's right. The other was Baby Pinky, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, no, that's right. I thought it was.
Yeah, we thought
And
it was.
then it was just random pony.
Although I only thought it was for like the first quarter of it. Go watch or listen to the first episode for this Halloween. Should be about 2 episodes back. Twilight clarified. Her gaze shot to the starless sky.
I've thought about asking them. Not about this or what I should do about it. I doubt they'd know the answers either. I just wanted to ask them how they'd do it. How did they handle being this wrong?
So are they dead now?
I don't know. What happens with them at the end of the show?
They just kind of retire. Go to a retiring home.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I could picture that.
Although we don't see them in the epilogue, so they might be dead. At least I don't think we see them in the epilogue. Frankly, I hope they're dead.
Oh, we see them in the epilogue. Only their gravestones, though.
They deserve a good rest. By a rest, I mean death.
This is
But
why
in
we
like a
gotta
good
read the next part to continue. Because then we gotta figure out if they do get that rest.
You know who dies before them if they're not dead? Granny Smith. And they're way older than her.
Oh, you're right.
Canonically, by the way, guys, Granny Smith does die. So there's
Rest in
just a
peace.
real fun fact for you. You could always ask me, Starlight sheepishly pointed out. What could be more wrong than enslaving a town and messing with time travel? The gentlest, most genuine giggle in a while weaseled out from Twilight's lips.
Yeah, I guess I always could.
She remarked.
But I was thinking of something more along the lines of how would they face everyone? All the creatures that lost their family, their friends. What would they say to them? What would they do for them?
I didn't expect it to get this just sad.
Yeah, this has been a lot sadder than horror.
Yeah.
I mean, they had that whole body horror scene, but it's been a lot more sad.
I'm more reminded of fucking shit, what's my favorite one? My favorite fanfic thing that we've done.
Moments
Yes.
worth.
I'm more reminded of a moment's worth than I am of like the last horror fix we've done.
But oh, you wait. We just have to see Twilight's solution.
Well, you tried your best, didn't you? Everyone knows he did. Twilight felt a hoof on her shoulder. Listen, we've all lost someone we know to this. I've lost my friends too. All of them. Maud, Trixie, Sunburst. But that doesn't mean I blame you for it. It's not your fault. Never was. And you said it yourself, remember? We have to be brave for them. We have to stop this. For them.
But see, what if that's it? What if we can't stop this?
Twilight could hear it. Lying in the dark, clear as day. What do you mean?
What if we're not supposed to stop this?
So I guess it's more existentially horrific.
Yeah, imagine this whole world they're in has just been going on for like so long that whoever created the world is just like, oh my god, they're not letting me end their world. They keep stopping these atrocities that I throw at them. So I'm just throwing in a disease that just wrecks everyone.
God.
Can't stop it.
God damn it, Lauren Faust.
That would actually be a twisted way to end a show like this.
Yeah. She could feel it closing in. What do you mean we're not supposed to?
We tried everything, didn't we? Yes, we did. I know we did.
Twilight had turned to Starlight when she said that, her eyes brimming with fresh tears.
We look around. We see all our friends and families suffering. And all this time, we're thinking that something somewhere went wrong. That all of this wasn't supposed to happen to us. But what if it's the other way around?
Twilight,
What if it's always meant to happen this way?
Twilight, you know that's not true.
What if we could never fix it in the first place? What if we never stood a chance?
You don't believe that. You can't.
Then tell me what I should do, Starlight. What can I do?
Starlight said nothing. Twilight knew she had nothing. She knew from the start that all the unicorn had left in her was restless denial. After all, she was in that position herself not too long ago. It was only after Twilight looked back on it, on how everything she had done up to that point never ended. On how everything she had done up to that point never even mattered in the first place, that she could finally bring herself to laugh again. That she could find comfort in the fact that, for once, everything was finally making sense. All of the pieces of the puzzle were falling into place.
I tried my best, Starlight. I knew I did. You never needed to tell me that.
That was when Twilight cantered up to Starlight and pulled her into a hug. Twilight, what are you...
I found a way
She whispered into Starlight's ear.
to fix this.
Twilight, we should talk about it first. The unicorn struggled in her grip. Twilight, please let me go.
I did the math, Starlight. All of this can only work with your help. It will. Oh my god, this is solving for death.
No. What could work? Starlight felt her squeeze harder. Twilight, please, you're hurting me.
Like I've said, I've been thinking about it.
A fizzle from Twilight's horn before a wisp of her magic emerged to swirl into the air.
I can't fix this. I know that now. I can't stop this from happening. No one can.
Twilight, what are you... Starlight yelped when Twilight's magic plunged downwards and punctured her horn. The searing pain erupted in her head seconds later was enough to send her hooves flailing. Darn head scorpions. Stop it! Stop it! Stop!
I can't, Starlight. I'm sorry.
Twilight spoke over her friend's choked screams.
It's going to happen to everyone. You know, we're all going to suffer. We're all going to choke and decay, one way or another. I can't stop that from happening. Ever. But I get it now. What I'm supposed to do. It's clear to me now.
Oh no, Twilight. What? Starlight couldn't speak through gritted agony. Her convulsing hooves rose up before diving down to slam against Twilight's sides in a vain attempt to free herself from the alicorn's grip. Don't.
I'm not supposed to stop the suffering.
Twilight smiled in delight at her epiphany, even as tears slithered down her cheeks.
I'm supposed to ease it. I'm supposed to spare the rest of you from it. It's the right thing to do. It's the only thing left to do. So please.
Please. Starlight pleaded through her gasps.
She is not easing it. This sounds just as painful. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, although I mean, I would rather this happen than whatever the fuck happened with Fluttershy earlier.
Yeah, it was like that was like pretty graphic, but still, she could easily do this a lot less brutal.
Yeah. Like the Everash project.
Yeah.
Starlight pleaded through her gasps, fruitlessly beating Twilight hard enough to leave a bruise, even as sparks began to leap from her horn. Please, please, please.
Be brave, Starlight. For me.
With an earth-shattering crack, a flash of violet and turquoise engulfs the world. Seconds later, tranquility. It took her a full 3 minutes before Twilight dared to open her eyes to the new world. The first thing she did was gently set Starlight Glimmer down onto the floor, taking care not to drop her. How nice. She had fallen limp in Twilight's embrace in the aftermath. Her stare seized up in the final throes of terror. With nothing more than a muted sigh, Twilight quickly ran a hoof over her friend's eyes, closing them for good. The first rays of sunlight had just splintered from the horizon when she finally emerged from the school. In between, a flurry of shadows, the bodies of Pegasi, griffins, and dragons alike, dropping from the clouds like the morning rain. From the mist, Ponyville emerged, yet there was not a scream or shout to be heard. There was only silence. There remained only peace. In celebration, Twilight Sparkle exhaled away every ounce of frustration and worry that had been curdling in her stomach. Settling down upon a hillside as she soaked in the sun rising over her kingdom of one, she closed her eyes and, for the first time in a long time, resigned herself to the painless quiet, relishing it even, letting herself fall backwards. She stretched herself out across the grass and beheld the sky, just in time to watch as the endless blue parted the clouds and reached for her with glassy, amniotic claws. She smiled, even as its tessellated hooks combed the hairs of her cheeks like centipedes, even as she felt it gently press her throat down onto the earth. Even as she was smothered underneath an ugly silence, Twilight closed her eyes and smiled. She was fine. Perfectly fine. So yeah, that story. That's the one
What
that I was
the
thinking of.
Heck.
You know, we can all see the through line of that and the stargazing, of course.
Yeah. Because that's what she's doing at the end. She's like lying on the hill and then, yeah.
Yeah,
Stargate.
exactly. Holy shucks. That was possibly, I think we have a new contender for the most depressing thing we've read.
I'm just so confused by what, like, okay, so she actually had to do this? This was, like, the end goal, and then suddenly the reward came?
I think she felt like she had to do this.
Well, it sounded like something was, like, reaching from the sky and crushing her or something. I don't
Maybe.
know.
Let me read that again, then. Yeah, I was kind of not actually paying attention to that final part. I was just kind of shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, something happened there.
At first, I was gonna have a comment about, like, them writing the narration like she has to do this and she has no other choice. Because I was like, that would work better as, like, a first-person narration. Because it sounds more like what would be in her head. But no, it sounds like there was an end goal that was achieved here.
You know, with that new thing that you placed in my head, maybe. Man, I have no idea.
Yeah. And I guess that's sort of the most Lovecraftian part
Yeah.
of it.
This was a bummer. So with a a right, just depressing bummer, frankly.
There's no happy ending. There's like nothing.
I'm shocked that this doesn't have the Grimdark tag. Actually, I don't think there is a Grimdark tag. Never mind. But, it definitely earned those tags that it does have, though. Gore, Death, Dark, Horror, Tragedy, Twilight, Discord, Main 6, and Starlight Glimmer. Whew.
You know, for one thing, I can tell her if Celestia and Luna were taking care of this, they would not have done that.
They certainly would not have. And... Ugh. Fuck you, Twilight. I'm gonna say it. Fuck you.
And also Rarity for, like, telling her to do something
Actually,
about
yeah,
it.
her too. Fuck you.
Because, like, maybe if she didn't tell her to do something about it, she wouldn't have done something about it.
Oh, man, and... Oof. And Discord said specifically that, you know, she shouldn't do it. So I think there was certainly a way out of it.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't that.
How come he didn't do anything to stop her? He said he was going to do something to stop her.
He said that he would have if Fluttershy was around. But without Fluttershy, what was the
he said
point?
he had a plan to... Hold on. What are you going to do about it? Something. Ideally. Anything to make sure it never comes to pass.
But then...
Oh, wait. Oh. I'm sure Fluttershy would have wanted me to, but that's the problem, isn't it? Fluttershy's not
Yeah,
here.
it's the-
Oh, I guess that was him saying that he... I thought that he, was still planning it. I didn't realize that that was, like, him giving up.
Yeah. Man, that's unfortunate.
Man. And you know, he could have done something. He could have, like, snapped his fingers.
Yeah, he could have snapped his fingers and her neck would have snapped.
Man.
Snap. Nothing.
So you know what?
Yeah.
Screw him too.
Fuck all y'all. This was the best ending possible, actually.
Everyone got what they deserved for not stopping Twilight.
Starlight could have easily stopped Twilight there, frankly.
She was right next to her. She could have
And
done
Starlight,
something.
fuck you.
She didn't even, like, glow her horn.
And Twilight, and Applejack, you're the most rational, reasonable one of the bunch. How could you not have seen what Twilight was going to do and just kicked her in the face right there, blowing her head up in the beginning?
An apple bloom.
And Apple Bloom. Honestly, you just made everything worse.
But
Fuck Apple Bloom.
apple bloom. You just made me sad
God.
by existing and then dying.
And you just have to fucking continue this garbage trend of making the CMCs dying in each fic. God. Everyone sucks.
But actually, this one, I don't know. I feel like it's probably one of the best horror mystery stories we've read.
I agree. I think...
Next to Fleeting Light in the Dark. But I'm not... With that one having, like, the sequel, I'm not sure how much the mystery part
Yeah,
will
we're
keep
definitely
up.
gonna have to think about that one in a few weeks. But God, I really love this story, actually. Even if I don't understand everything about it, I think it's really good. It might be my favorite fic we've read, at the very least for this October.
Yeah.
And maybe even just for any October, except for Fleeting Light in the Darkness, which, you know, I think is better than this one, probably.
Yeah, I'd have to re-listen, but I still feel like that
Yeah,
one...
if there's a stormy day coming up, you
it
gotta
didn't-
re-listen to it then. It works so well.
I feel like with this one, we had that portion where we were like, this doesn't even feel horror, this just feels sad. Well, we never really had that with Fleeting Light in the Dark. It was always
Yeah,
felt
Fleeting Light in the
horror.
Darkness is definitely Actually, these are very similar and existentially tearing me apart.
Yeah. But this one was definitely a
Yeah.
lot more graphic.
Even with just the one scene of graphic, really. But take that scene out and it doesn't
They also
work.
sort of did that with the migraine, and then with
The scorpion.
Starlight as well. They got a bit more graphic
You're
in
right, you're
other
right.
parts.
Man, I love this story. Yeah. That's all I have to say, really.
But how about now we look up into the sky, just like Twilight?
Hey, Wizzy. Was there always that eldritch demon looking down at us?
Yeah, one of us pointed that
Huh.
out.
Wait
it's
a
getting
minute.
closer.
Yeah, it wasn't that close before. Huh.
Oh no!
Ah. Wait a minute. No, stop. Stop. Hold on. Okay,
I
cool.
didn't hit stop
Cool.
yet. I'm still
cool.
recording.
So, I do need to do this because I forgot that we were doing this. That I was specifically doing this. Recommendation. Book recommendation.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I've got to like write some notes down or something to remind me. Great book to read for Halloween. What's it called? House of Leaves. It doesn't work on like ebooks and certainly not audiobooks. So pick up the physical copy. It's fantastic and weird and horror and shit. And it's one of the few books where it just has to be a book. It could not work as a movie. Although there have been stuff with similar premises, but it thrives on the book nature of it. So, yeah.
Makes sense.
Absolutely go check that out, you guys. And now the whole Eldritch being.
Bye.
Record.
Record.
Cool. Got the 2 records from Wizzy. That's always nice to hear.
That means it's good. We have special codes for this.
Yep. Oh, I thought you said we had special clothes for this.
What are you wearing?
Nothing.
I knew it. You weren't wearing the special clothes I made for this.